at a topic that is spelled with three simple letters: sex. Sex. Now, sex means many things to many people in many different ways. Some see it as strictly for procreation. Many would say that you have to be very strict and responsible about it. Others think that it's for pleasure, and you'd be surprised to find out that certain animal species, like dolphins, for example, are known to have sex just for pleasure. So it's not just human beings that have sex for pleasure. Certain animals, like dolphins, very intelligent life form, are known to also have sex just for pleasure. Well, it is said that it can make you very happy, and some say that it can even make you very healthy, not to mention the divine or the religious connotations that were ascribed to sex and still are in many of today's religions. I've got a lady in the studio with me by the name of Mrs. Salome Anor, National Healthy Lifestyle Advocate. You can find her via her internet address. Her email address is regionclinic@yahoo.com. She's my guest because a while back she wrote a really interesting article in the Economic Tribune in two parts, and the premise for it all was: is sex really healthy? Is sex medicinal? Is it a healthy thing? Can it really improve your happiness? Can it reduce your stress, cure your depression, improve the condition of your heart, and so on and so forth? Is it even a painkiller? Are all these scientific facts? I will open the phone line. The TV3 Sunrise page on Facebook is open throughout. So if you have any questions that are topical or thematic in this following way: is sex really healthy, and how? Well, call and ask, or post and ask. You can also post and comment and criticize, of course. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise. It's really nice to have you here. So I don't even know where to start. This is such a such an extensive topic. For this one, I can just keep quiet and wait for viewers to post their questions. But just to briefly look at the topic of your article: is sex really healthy? Would you say yes or no?
Thank you very much. This is a dicey issue,
Dicey?
Very dicey.
No, why is it dicey?
Yeah, because the answer is a yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yes and no, because there are both positive and negative effects of having sex. So the answer is a yes and no.
Okay, which outweighs the other? Is it more healthy than more healthy, or is it more healthy than healthy?
I believe, since it's a discussion, at the end of the day, we would all come to a compromise as to whether it's very healthy or not healthy. And I believe it all depends on a whole lot of factors. That is, who does it, when it is done, how it is done, where it is done, and all that points to be considered.
Okay, let's start with the heart, because people say my heart can't take it, and I don't have heart for this, and people believe that love rests in the heart, and some people even misconstrue sex for love. Tell me about cardiovascular health and sex. What is the correlation?
Right. With the cardiovascular aspect, when having sex, the heartbeats increase, that is, the rate increases, and as that occurs, it's more of aerobic, so it becomes a form of exercise, and as you do it, the beats would increase from 70 to 80 beats per minute to about 140 to 150 beats per minute, and it's an exercise for the cardiac muscle, and therefore you gain more stamina as you do it, and it improves the health. It decreases the disease associated with the heart to about 50%. That is according to research.
Okay, sounds like a really good form of a cardiovascular exercise. What about the lungs and the respiratory system? Is it true that sex can clear up flus and even stuffy noses for everyone?
That is true. That is true because the deep breaths during the intercourse would also help to cleanse. That is, oxygenation will take place. You take in more oxygen, you bring out carbon dioxide, and as that occurs, you are giving out a waste product. So there is a cleansing action here. And then it also cleanses the passageways of the respiratory system, and therefore it can cure flus and then colds.
Okay, now here's an obvious one about, happiness and, shifts in mood. Does it work for both men and women? Is it a fact that sexual activity can positively impact depression, for example, or sad moods?
Yes, that is true because of the hormonal system. See, there are hormonal changes that occur, and then there are hormones that are released, which take care of the mood, or which change the mood from sadness to happiness. The endorphins, usually known as the happiness hormones, and so on. There is an increase, yes, in the levels, and therefore you realize that one has some joy, some sort of joy in having sex.
Okay, sex and weight loss. Sex as a form of exercise. I really have to go in rapid fire because I know that there are so many questions. There's one here, is sex a source of exercise? And this is someone whose name I can't even pronounce. He's asking a very simple question. Sex and exercise, is it something that truly burns as many calories as some people say it does?
Yeah, sex can really burn calories, but it all depends on how you go about it and how you do it. So that if it isn't too tedious, if it isn't too tiring, and it isn't above your capabilities, then you are really burning some fats, some calories, and that can bring about a weight loss.
Okay, here's a viewer who says that he's been celibate for 3 years. Does that mean that he's prone to cardiovascular disease, flus, depression, unhappiness, weight gain, and everything else?
No, because sex is just one of the things that improves health. It doesn't really mean that that is the only thing one should do to improve health, because after all, sex is meant for married people and not for the unmarried.
Okay, sex as a painkiller. Is there such a thing?
Yes, there is.
There is, because I see that you mentioned it in your article, that sex relieves pain 10 times more than Valium.
Yeah, because just before orgasm, there's a production of oxytocin, that is a hormone, and that will in turn bring about the production or release of endorphins. And that releases pain because it relaxes the system, and then pain is relieved. So sex relieves pain.
Okay, here's a really nice one. One of the last you mentioned, sex and lifespan. You said that on the average, sex increases the human lifespan. Is this also based on solid scientific fact?
Yeah, because once is a form of exercise, though it's not very structured one. Since it's a form of exercise, you give out carbon dioxide, you burn fats, and so on, you burn calories, you gain health. And so it adds up to your lifespan, and it improves the lifespan.
Okay, now considering everything that you've just said, here's an interesting post from a viewer called Franco who says, well, sex makes me feel good, but afterwards I sometimes become weak. I feel quite weak and tired. How do you explain all these benefits if someone such as Frank says that, well, he actually feels depleted or tired?
Right, so, I said it depends on who does it, when it is done, where, and all that. So the preparedness of the mind before the act is very important. And then even the energy level of the person doing it, because I talked about who does it. So the energy level of the person doing it, and even your lifestyle, your work schedule, because it should be moderate. There should be moderation in everything that you do. If you overdo it, if you overspend time on it, definitely you are going to have the negative effects, because it has both positive and the negative effects.
Okay, well, some of the negative effects and risks are quite obvious. For example, the risk of unwanted pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases and infections, such as herpes and HIV. And there is this statistic. that I see here that you quoted in your article from the Ghana Demographic and Health Survey of 2008 that shows that 7.8% and 4.3% of young men and women who were surveyed between the ages of 15 and 24 said that they had had sex before the age of 15. Now, I wonder whether you think that is healthy or unhealthy.
It is unhealthy.
Now, that is unhealthy. Why?
Because when you shouldn't do it and you do it, even the emotional trauma that you go through afterwards, and then sometimes you realize that the sex organs themselves are not very mature. So you go into it, you get unwanted pregnancy, it disturbs your emotions, there's psychological trauma, you go through all this. Sometimes you would have to go and abort. At times you give birth and you are not able to take care of the child. So all these things are problems that will continue and will lead to other problems in future. So that isn't healthy.
Well, talking about the future, I'd like you to come again in future because I noted that your article has a part 2, which I don't have a copy of. So I'd love to read the part 2 and also, find out a bit more about the adverse outcomes of sex that you mentioned earlier. Thank you very much. Mrs. Salome Ano has been my guest.